It's Snowbird season. This time of the year, we hear from lots of Canadians driving down or flying into the US, where they're ultimately heading for sunny skies and warmer weather. Can't say I blame them. Aside from being aware of the ever-changing COVID testing and quarantine considerations and requirements, here are some important tips for snowbirds to keep in mind when entering the United States. First, know that when a snowbird applies for entry, they're typically being admitted to the U.S. as a B2 visitor. Generally, visitors are allowed to stay for up to 6 months following any given entry. But a CBP or Customs and Border Protection officer can restrict this. When entering the U.S., CBP may ask questions to gauge your intent to return to Canada after your trip within that 6-month limitation. CBP will not admit someone who intends to possibly stay here permanently, or if that person doesn't have the means to support themselves while in the United States. CBP will consider permanent ties back to Canada like home ownership, financial assets, family ties, and the likes. If the CBP officer feels that you're manipulating the rules of a B2 visitor, they'll probably deny you entry, and there's unfortunately not much you can do about it. Most snowbirds who come to the United States have this 6-month rule default concept when they're here. I want to clarify that this isn't an airtight rule when it comes to immigration. While an authorized period of stay following any given entry will probably be limited to 6 months, CBP does have the authority to allow someone to come into the United States for a longer period than that in any given calendar year. So, for example, let's say a snowbird enters on November 1st and is admitted for 6 months through May 1st. Let's say that person leaves March 1st, 2 months shy of that stay, and then they come back to come in on April 1st. Well, on that April 1st trip, CBP could technically admit them for an additional 6-month period of stay, so long as they're satisfied that that individual still has plans to return back to Canada. So you see, there's no technical violation if they stay for that second period of their 6-month stay because they're still within the terms of their immigration status. Now, that's not to say that other considerations don't come into play when it comes to snowbirds and that 6-month rule. I know that there are sometimes provincial considerations when it comes to health insurance, and of course there's other tax obligations to factor as well. Finally, let's chat about snowbirds who are nearing the end of one period of 6-month stay and who don't want to exit the United States. For whatever reason, they want to extend their trip by another 2 or 3 months or even up to another 6 months. Know that that is possible. We can file a paper-based application with an agency called U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, or USCIS, and request an extension of status without that Canadian having to go back to the United States. Now, ultimately, that snowbird still has to have plans to leave, and the government will probably ask questions about that or want to see proof of their intent to leave, but know that it can be done. So, those are some helpful tips for Canadian snowbirds. If you have any questions about your stay in the United States, contact me, Jennifer Behm, a partner with Berardi Immigration Law, and we'll make sure we answer all of your questions.
Thank you for watching our video. We hope you found it helpful. We'd love if you would like our video and if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget, hit that notification button so you never miss another video from Berardi Immigration Law. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.